Welcome to Staffworks Explained. If you are here for the first time, please consider subscribing to this channel. You can also hit the notification bell so that whenever you upload a new video, you are notified. In today's video, we'll be talking about the SGR launch. The launch of the stalled SGR in Kenya, all the way from Suswa to Kisumu, and then stretching to onward to Malaba, and ultimately supposed to go up to Kampala. So Kenya has now formally launched the next phases of its most ambitious infrastructure project. This renewed push brings together politics, economics, regional rivalry, as well as unfinished business or promises. In this video, we'll look at the launch itself, the presence of Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni, the scope, the cost of the project, the route, the counties it will cut through, the timelines to completion, as well as the reason it is stalled in what critics once called a railway to nowhere, and the deeper political calculations now driving its revival. Let's talk about the launch, which we call a symbolic restart. In March 19th and 21st, President William Ruto stood alongside Uganda President Yoweri Museveni in Kisumu to launch the construction of Naivasha-Kisumu-Malaba stretch of the SGR. This was not just another groundbreaking. It marked the resumption of the project that had stalled for 6 years, frozen mid-Rift Valley, hundreds of kilometers short of its intended regional link. Museveni's presence was deliberate. It signals that this is no longer a purely Kenya railway. It's a regional corridor meant to connect Mombasa to Kampala and beyond. The two phases, what is being built. The extension is being executed in two key phases. Phase 2B from Naivasha or Suswa to Kisumu. Then phase 2C, some are calling it phase 3, is from Kisumu to Malaba up to Kenyan border with Uganda. Together they form a continuous western corridor designed to complete the original vision of linking the Indian Ocean to Lake Victoria and eventually to Uganda. The Naivasha-Kisumu section alone covers roughly 269 kilometers, while broader Naivasha-Malaba stretch is 475 kilometers. The government has, the route and the counties it will pass, as well as the towns it will cover. The government has settled on what is known as the southern route. From Suswa or Naivasha, the railway will pass through Narok County, Bomet, Kericho, Nyamira, Kisumu, and then Busia, up to Malaba. The key towns or areas which are include Narok Town, surrounding Rift Valley settlements, Sondu, Ahero in Kisumu, Kisumu City, where major terminals and Portlink will be established, and then Malaba, the critical border crossing into Uganda. The Kisumu section alone includes 83 kilometers stretch within the county. What's the scope and what does this project include? This is not just a railway line, it is a full transport system. Planned infrastructure includes dozens of stations, about 26 in the early plans, more than 79 bridges, 8 tunnels, hundreds of culverts, an inland container depot in Kisumu, as well as a branch linking to Kisumu port. The design also allows future electrification through diesel operation, which will come fast due to power limitations. Let's look at the cost and financing and the shift in strategy. The estimated cost stands at roughly 645 billion, which is about $5 billion. But what has changed most is how it will be paid for. After years of reliance on Chinese loans, Kenya now is using the Railway Development Levy as a funding base. It's also exploiting bonds and market financing, as well as adopting a risk-sharing model with contractors. This shift reflects hard reality. Kenya has limited room to borrow after years of heavy infrastructure debt. What about the timelines? When will it be completed? Official projections suggest that Naivasha-Kisumu is targeted for completion in mid 2027, and then Nairobi Kampala link is expected to be completed by 2028. If met, this would cut travel time between Nairobi and Kampala from 14 hours to about 4 hours and reduce freight cost by around 35%. Why has it stalled? Why was it being referred to as a railway to nowhere? For years, the SGR terminated abruptly at Suswa in Narok County. Critics labeled it as a railway to nowhere. The reasons were clear. China scaled back lending under the Belt and Road Initiative. There were rising concerns over Kenya's debt burden. There was lack of a viable financing model for the Western extension, as well as the political hesitation amid public criticism. By 2019, the project had simply run out of money and as well as momentum. One question that is being asked is why now? Why is the unlocking of the project happening now? So what has changed despite what I've mentioned before? There are three key factors. One, there is a new financing model. Kenya moved away from pure debt financing to mixture or blended funding using internal revenue streams. There's also regional pressure where Uganda has started exploring alternative routes, particularly linking its western corridor to Tanzania SGR network. This raised the stakes for Kenya. There's also political imperative. Completing the SGR has become a central point to the current administration economic and legacy agenda. Let's look at this from a political angle, more than infrastructure. Museveni's presence at the launch was not ceremonial, it was strategic. This railway locks Uganda into the northern corridor through Kenya. It also counters Tanzania's growing influence through its own SGR network. It also reinforces Kenya's position as the regional logistics hub. Some analysts read the timing as a direct response to Uganda parallel engagement with Tanzania. The message from Nairobi is clear. The Kenyan route is back on the table and it will be completed. Let's have a critical view, the promise versus the reality. There is no doubt that the SGR extension could transform the trade across East Africa. But serious questions remain. Can Kenya sustain financing without overburdening taxpayers? Will projected cargo volumes justify the cost? Can timelines be met? And given the past delays, and will the regional politics remain aligned long enough to see it through? This is a project that has been already tested public trust once. In conclusion, we can say that this is a second chance and there is a high stake. The launch of Suswa Kisumu Malaba SGR extension is more than just a construction milestone. It is a second attempt to complete a vision that once stalled midway, physically and politically. This time the stakes are higher. The financing model is different, the regional dynamics are sharper, and political pressure to deliver it is unmistakable. If completed, the railway could redefine this trade across East Africa, linking the port of Mombasa to the heart of the continent. If it flutters again, it risks becoming something far more costly than unfinished tracks, a symbol of ambition overtaken by reality. For now, the railway is moving again. Whether they reach Kampala and beyond will define not just a project but a region's economic future. So thank you for reaching this far. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to this channel. You can also hit the notification bell so that whenever you upload a new video, you are notified. So thank you, and let's meet in the next one.